I have to warn you, and you may have noticed immediately, I have a fan going right now, and I'm so sorry for that, but unfortunately, it's hot as shit in, I shit you not, Siberia, the one place that's known first and foremost for being like super cold. It's super hot here, it's very strange, and it's 5 a.m. right now, so it's only gonna get hotter. And I really want to stream, so let me bring you into an annoyance that I used to have. Let's say I want to search for all feed keys, a function that I have in my configuration. Let's actually do this so that we don't catch feed keys int. And so I'm using telescope, the grep picker, and if we look at the hotkeys that we have here, one of them, not sure what it is though. Oh, it's here, like very difficult to see. So there are a few different actions in telescope that let you send your results to the quick fix list. Let's actually go look at them. Because they're a big reason why I even use the quick fix list to begin with. So let's go qf list, and it's going to be somewhere there. So yeah, this action for telescope, send to quick fix list, so it replaces all the entries in there with the current one. Wait, what? In the current oil directory? What the fuck? Is there a qf list thing for oil too? Because that's not what I meant. Yes, telescope actions open qf list. Here we go. So this is the correct one. Wait, why open? For fuck's sake. Telescope add to. Damn. Cannot for the life of me find it. So there's send, which means replace, and there's add, which means append to the quick fix list. You have things for selected, so maybe I do feed keys and then I select. So right now I'll only send the selected ones. There's just for the one at your cursor, and there's the ones that I actually use. Wait, oh, that's location list. Let's scroll a bit more. Yes, so here we have smart send to qf list and smart add to qf list. It combines the selecting and the current hotkeys. Basically, if you have selections, if you selected anything, then it adds or sends all the selections. If you don't have anything selected, then it just sends the one at your cursor. So very, very, I guess, obvious behavior. So considering that you set mappings for those, now you can do feed keys specifically, and now let's say let's try again, feed keys, press the wrong hotkey. So I'm like, okay, I want to grab this, I want to grab this, I want to skip 2 and grab these 2. And now I want to go through all of them, basically. So I use my hotkey to send to quick fix list. What now? Good question. So first of all, there is a telescope picker for the items in your quick fix list, as you can see here. So I can go and choose from any one of those and jump to them. However, this picker makes no fucking sense semantically, because think about it this way. The quick fix list as you can probably imply from the name, it means like I want to quickly fix these entries in this list. So in other words, I want to go through each one of the things in this list and fix them one by one, and then I'm going to be done. This picker, on the other hand, let's go to the first one, blah blah blah, I fixed it somehow. Let's go to the second one, and now you can see that I need to move down. Let's move to the third one, now I have to move down twice. Let's go to the fourth one, and I need to move 3 times, and you can see how it doesn't scale well at all. Because this picker is to interactively pick one of the entries, rather than the more natural motion of go to the next one. Because at least for me, that's what the quick fix list is for, kinda. But oh well, don't worry, because there are commands that you can map hotkeys to have this semantic of go next. So, fuck. Let's actually re-add something. Let's say vim, no wait, env.shell. And I want to add, or rather replace, the previous quick fix list with all of these entries, which I did right now. Okay, so you can do C next to go to the next entry in the quick fix list. Let's press enter. 2 of 9. That must be a bug, right? Or maybe it's lying to me, like it's 2 indexed, and so 2 actually means 1 here. Right? Wrong. So the way this works, it's really fucking stupid. It's hilarious also. So let's say you have a quick fix list. It is filled with some amount of elements, and you're currently somewhere else. God knows where, you're somewhere, and you want to start going through the quick fix list. In your brain, it's like, oh, I'm not on any entry of the quick fix list, so the next one is the first one. In the mind of Vim, when you aren't on a quick fix list entry, you're actually on the first one. So when you do C next, it goes you to the next one, which is the second one, because it thinks that you're in the first one. So what ends up happening is you skip the first one and you never fucking see it. And if you don't know about this behavior, you might even miss it and not fix that like issue that you wanted to fix. And then something doesn't work and you're like, what the fuck? What's wrong? And then you're like, wait, what? Didn't I fix this? So it's like very, very bad. Yeah, so that's pretty bad, but once we start using C next again, now we're on the third one, fourth one, and I'm just gonna repeat 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9. Okay, so we're on the last one. And so, we just talked about how we actually never handled the first one, so we might actually go to the next one to go to the first one to go handle it, because it's still unhandled. Let's do C next to go from the 9th one to the first one. Whoops. Come on now. So what's happening here is, well, actually, you're in the last entry. There is no next entry because you're in the last one. So if this was like API, if this was code that you're supposed to use in code, in the plugin or in your configuration, for example, this behavior would make a lot of sense. Because, yeah, there I would want to get errors if I'm on the last one, because then I can handle that situation however I want. But this is not really API. This is something that you're supposed to be using interactively, at least in theory. For sure, you probably have mappings for these, because typing in cnext every time is a bit much. But in theory, you can very much just type this in, right? So for it to have this like nerd behavior of erroring out, instead of having the more useful behavior of just going, like, of rotating to the first element, because do remember, it shows us in the output what element you're on. You're not gonna miss that you're in the last element, you're gonna see that. So kind of makes no sense. Yeah, so that's pretty strange. And both of these issues apply in the same way if you try to go backwards with cprev. And I wonder, there's probably... No, that's not the correct thing. cprev. Oh, so it is. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so that's what I remember correctly. The abbreviation for it is CP, which is wild. So, yeah, same thing if you go backwards. Let's actually grab something new. Let's just grab color and add it, and let's try to do cprev. No more items, because we're on the first one, remember? So it doesn't go to the end, and it thinks we're on the first one even though we aren't on any one. So, my plugin, qfetter, and now I like dramatically open it on GitHub. Voila! qfetter. Let me send you a link to my plugin, Blammo. My plugin fixes that, and it goes kinda in what I'm talking about, but a bit more in depth as to why this needs to exist. Long story short, I guess, no, long story long, I mostly explained everything that goes behind this plugin's idea. Let's find something. I don't know, GitHub. Yeah, I guess that exists. Now we have a new quick fix list. Let's use my thingies for moving across. So you have these mappings that you have to create, by the way. No default mappings in any of my plugins. I think that's, like, I despise the idea of plugins just adding their own mappings that you have to then like figure out how to remove. It's very annoying. And then you have to pass options to a plugin where you wouldn't otherwise, just to fucking remove default mappings, which map, for example, for some ridiculous bullshit like lowercase s, for example, for leap .nvim, or I don't know, I'm actually out of examples, or GC for comment plugins, which is very uncomfortable to press. I do agree, like, makes sense, go comment, I guess, but it's inconvenient, it's uncomfortable. And some other examples where plugins make default mappings that you have to remove because they're like built in, and there's some ridiculous bullshit like that. None of my plugins do that. None of my plugins do or ever will, I'm pretty sure, have default mappings. There are suggested mappings though, those that you can easily copy paste into your config to use them. So the first two, go to another quick fix list entry, forwards and backwards. So I do right bracket q for quick fix list, and I go to the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, And by the way, it's not like displaying what I am on. It usually would in your config. It's just that I removed the status line, which I guess I should keep open here for now, so that it's more clear to you. So since I said you're not gonna miss being on the last one, that is still true. It's just not true for me, but generally it is true. So we can go to the next one, and we can go to the last one, like entry. Let's say we get to this file, and maybe here we can be sure that we actually can just do a full-on replace to change GitHub to GitLab. So after we do this, imagine I press enter, I don't actually want to do that. It handles the entire file, so all the quick fix list entries that would be here are handled all at once. So going to the next quick fix list entry in this file is kind of unnecessary, because like let's imagine like there was GitHub here as well, right? So it would get handled from this substitute command. So you going to this place next is very useless. You don't need that. And especially if there are a lot of matches here in this file, all of which you handled all at once, having to press bracket Q, etc. again and again is kind of annoying, which is why you can press bracket capital Q to go not just to the next quick fix list entry, but to the next quick fix list entry that is also in a different file. So this way, you should look at the number at the bottom to see when the number jumps more than by 1, because see, here it jumped from 4 to 6, because at 4, GitHub, the word GitHub exists 2 times in this file, and in both of these cases it's just GitHub token. I'm like, oh, okay, actually now it's not GitHub token, it's I don't know, GitLab token, GitHub token, GitLab token, and boom, I would have handled all of the entire file. So I just go to the next file specifically, where I can also maybe handle all of them. That's not always going to be the case. Sometimes you need to handle them one by one, like here for example. Here it doesn't make sense to just do a replace because this is the full domain, maybe it doesn't make sense, etc. So you have control around both of these. So effectively you get to have 2 functions, rather one function just with different options. So this is the buffer jump that you can directly make mappings to jump across the quick fix list, which just makes it far nicer than C next not working and you having to do C first for the first one, but then C next for every other one, which is very annoying to have to do. So this is just nice, it's pretty neat, and this would be a pretty nice plugin on its own with just that. But if you know me well enough, you know that I don't stop at just reasonable and well, yeah, that's like good functionality. No, I go into more depth to create something hyper specific and in theory very powerful but hard to get your head around. Ah yes, tractors outside. Thank you. So this was the case here too. I came up with something like obscenely fucking cool. It is ridiculous. It is like, holy shit. So, if you haven't read this article, and you're either interested in Vim, which I assume you are since you're watching my stream, or maybe you already use Vim, I think every Vim user or interester should read this article. It talks about why there's actually no need for multiple cursors in Vim. And by the way, this isn't really multiple cursors, although it technically acts like those, because of the different semantics, so we don't call them multiple cursors, strangely. But yeah, explains why there's no need for multiple cursors in Vim and NeoVim, and it's true, I super agree. And not because I'm like, I guess, yeah, sure, I am going out of my way to just do things very differently, but it's true that I never think, oh, I wish I had multiple cursors here. This thought maybe occurred to me at first when I was just learning NeoVim for the first time, but for a long-ass time I've never had that thought, because not only do you have alternatives to multiple cursors, but actually you have even better options that you generally have in editors with multiple cursors. Maybe except Emacs, I guess. That has multiple cursors, and it's a pretty powerful editor, so I assume it's good enough. I'm like giving it the benefit of the doubt. But even with all of the possible options for Vim to kind of replace multiple cursors, you don't get the absolutely free version of multiple cursors. What am I talking about? I'm talking about VS Code's Alt plus middle click, I believe, is the hotkey, the default one, where you just click at different places in your code and just add another cursor to that place. Even with all the Vim magic, you won't have that. Which I'm obviously mentioning for no reason whatsoever, and my plugin definitely doesn't solve this issue. So, yeah, what you can do is search for some pattern, and then on every pattern, like, place effectively a cursor there. That you can do using the G command. Oh, for every line that contains txt, execute a normal command where you add ASTF at the end of the line. Like this you can do. And this is very cool, by the way. I super recommend learning both about G, V, and norm. Super powerful, but just not what I'm talking about here. So, as you can probably tell already, with my plugin, you can put multiple cursors in a bunch of places effectively. Let me show you. There's a mapping, and I'm sorry, it's a pretty stupid one without the context of my config. Fucking single call apostrophe Q. Yes, really. Apostrophe Q. That's the mapping that I use personally, because for me, apostrophe is register access. What is double quote to you is single quote to me. So when I do single quote Q, it's as if I am accessing the Q register, which I can't really access. Stupid mapping, so I hope you can come up with something better than that, but it's like very quick and easy to press, which is why I use it. So I use apostrophe Q, and it says add QF entry. How interesting. Let's go in and add it here. So immediately we added this exact cursor location to the quick fix list, and this one. Maybe you can, and I would be impressed, but it would be pretty annoyingly difficult and not worth it to express these two places as a pattern already, and we're 2 in. Let's go on and add this place. So at this point, you're like super done. Like you would never actually interactively write a pattern to match something so arbitrary and specific. Basically meaning that it's impossible. I believe that we shouldn't count by technically doable, we should count by reasonable to do. And so far, this is reasonable to do. I'm just pressing 2 keys on every place. I go from place to place, and I'm like, okay, I want this, I want this, I want this. Let's go X term, add this, and like if I do it at full speed, it's actually pretty quick. You can argue that maybe using the mouse, like in VS Code example, right, would still be quicker. Just press here. Let me actually, let me actually try that. So here, where were we? Using the mouse for some reason confuses me, but that's like a me thing. I can't press that, it will open the link. I can press that, it will open a link. Yeah, I guess maybe it could be faster with the mouse, but with my method, you don't have to use the mouse. I would rather be slower than have to use the mouse, which I'm sure a lot of Vim users like feel the same about. Because Vim, at the end of the day, I don't think it's about speed. It's not about being as fast as possible. There are some places where Vim is probably slower than using the mouse. Can't give you an example, but I assume it's true somewhere. Vim is about comfortability, about being able to not move much from your keyboard, not even have to go to the arrow keys and like page down, page up type of stuff. No, just slightly, somewhat move your fingers on the keyboard, and that's it. No function keys or anything, no mouse. That's just comfortable, ergonomic, and nice. So here we added a bunch of stuff to the quick fix list, and now, yep, I am now realizing that we actually had like the previous quick fix list. So this sucks. Now I have to redo it again. But first of all, how do I even remove all of these entries? Well, in my plugin, you can press, well, by the way, your mapping. Like, this is not a default mapping, once again. It's not added for you, you would have to add it. So in my plugin, for me, double apostrophe Q will clear the quick fix list, as it says in the notification. By the way, the notification style is not from my plugin. That is Vim notify or nvim-notify. It would usually appear as a message here. So now it is empty. So if I try to look at my quick fix list, it says no items. So let's do it again, because I fucked up. And where were we? Here. Actually, I can almost argue it's faster than the mouse. At least for me, I'm not like very comfortable with using the mouse. I really hate having to like min-max and pinpoint the correct location with the mouse. I've always hated that. Like, you have to have such immense precision for no reason. So now we can see I have 4 entries in my quick fix list. And let's say I can now actually move through them, by the way, too. Look at the number here at the bottom. So of 4 means like, oh, we have 4 overall quick fix list entries, naturally. But this first number means the entry that we're currently on, the current quick fix list entry. This is important because of my mapping apostrophe capital Q, which lets you remove the current quick fix list entry from the list. And you can see it does exactly that. So now when we jump, we no longer jump to the first one because we removed it, as you can see here as well. So we have 3 of them. But if you want to remove some specific indexed one, in case you know, because generally you won't know, like, you'll have a bunch of them, like maybe 17 or 76. You won't know the index very well, probably. But if you do know, you can just do something like 1 apostrophe capital Q, and that will remove that counts 1. So you provide a number, and that number gets removed from the quick fix list. But the default is the current one, the one that you're currently on. So, oops, I actually added the same one again, so let me remove that. Let's add this also and this, so that we have 4 with an interesting ordering, by the way. So we have 4. That's cool, I guess, you might be saying. How is this useful, though? You showed me what you can do, you didn't show me why you can do that. So first of all, let me show you a real-world example. Okay, I'm lying, it's not going to be a real-world example. It's going to be a please understand what I mean type of example. So let's say you have, you like try to add some command, like auto command, sdf then pattern sdf also, and then callback is some callback, and then you jump to that callback, and notice, like, I don't know, here for example, you notice like, oh, actually, this is wrong, like, this is imprecise and I should fix that. But I can't fix it right now because it's not that important. But I want to get to it after the thing that I will complete right now. So you quickly add it to the quick fix list, and then continue on doing whatever you were doing. And then you finish up and you're like, okay, now I am ready to go fix that thing that I added to the list. And then you just jump there, fix it, and then if you want to, remove it from the list. See the workflow that I'm going for? That's actually very nice. You can, of course, use something like local marks, or even local search harps from harp.nvim. And that's true, but they use a different semantic. They use the semantic of place this place into register M, for example. So now, when you add a place that you want to get back to, now you also have to remember what register you put that in. And that will only be able to contain a single place. So if you need to add multiple places to, like, oh, I need to get back to this, well, now, fuck, you have to remember multiple registers. And it's just not the semantic that you're going for. You're going for, oh, I want to get to all of these thingies. You don't mean, oh, I also want to place them at this specific register. You don't care about the register right now, because it's temporary, in a sense. Like, once you handle it, you will never care about it ever again, probably. So using registers just doesn't really make sense. But then using the quick fix list, that makes a lot more sense, because it's like, oh, let's just add all of this bullshit to a single list and I'll go through all of it. And then once you go through all of it, you can also clear it. And they're like, okay, I'm done. That's very nice. But the actual power that comes from this, and for me talking about multiple cursors, there's a command called cdo. It's called cdo, and it executes a command for every position, for every entry in the quick fix list. Holy fuck. You know what this means? Everything that you would ever want to run, you can just do on specific places that you picked prior. So we picked this place, I believe, then this, or rather, then this, then this. So now I can execute norm. So we can execute a string over normal mode mappings. Let's go into insert and add a space. And now, in all the places that I marked, I added a space. This is basically multiple cursors, although with more power, I believe, because you have the power of Vim to say something like, oh, change inside word, change towards, or rather change until the third next backslash. You can do that in Vim. Oh, change an entire sentence, change in fucking number, paragraph, fucking tag, whatever you fucking want, and then put this text, go 3 lines up, then switch to a different file. I'm pretty sure you can do that. Execute a macro at F there, then fucking Google for the current weather, paste that in. You can do all of that in Vim, by the way. At these like very arbitrary places that I just decided to act upon, in all of them all at once. And this doesn't have to be in a single file. I could do it in multiple buffers all at the same time if I wanted. Just didn't want to, so I wouldn't like fuck up a bunch of places. But like I could. And that's the workflow of doing like search and replace. You use telescope live grep, you say feed keys, but specifically without int, then you add all of them to the quick fix list, and then you do cdo s replace feed keys with, actually this is pretty important, so feed keys, and then you replace it with something else, and would I press enter, it would replace with this. Alternatively, what I recommend over using cdo here is using cfdo. Remember that semantic that I talked about of going to the next entry and going to the next entry but in a different file? Same idea applies here. So cdo executes a command at the position of every quick fix list entry. cfdo executes a command for every file that is in the QEF list. So maybe feed keys appears in 3 different files. In every one of those files, execute the following command: $s. Or maybe you have to do this, but I'm pretty sure you can just specify a range here, and that would be correct. So this would run a global replacement on 3 entire files, replacing feed keys with whatever this is. So this is the power of the quick fix list, and this is why I've been so excited about it. It's amazing. I truthfully underuse it a bit, because it's a pretty like interesting approach, interesting way of doing things. So I definitely need to get used to using it more, because it's fucking amazing. I can like keep redoing different actions on very different lines. It's super cool. Our next thing is something that as I usually do, I guess, as it's become my habit and hobby, just reading NeoVim help pages in full, by the way, which is psychotic. I found some cool things about search mode. So, you can search to search. Ah, yes. And then once you press enter, you go to the next one. That all makes sense. And then to go to more, you go and press N to go to the next one, and capital N to go to the previous one. So this is very like known and default. Let's say I want to check whether this file contains the string. Sure, actually, feed keys. Let's use the same example. So here I go to the next one, but I don't actually go there. I just get a preview. Of the next search. So I get to see two of them here. If I wanted to go and look at more of them, then the best solution is probably this that I've shown in the past, but this doesn't have fucking syntax highlighting. I cannot deal with it. So let's specifically use feed keys like in a search. So I don't have a way to move to more than these two that I'm currently seeing. Or can I? Turns out when you're in search mode, you can press Ctrl G to go to the next match. And I haven't pressed enter yet. When I press escape, I'm back to whatever place I was at. So here. I don't get moved anywhere. Like feed keys, Ctrl G, and I just keep moving to other instances of me using feed keys. And I can look through all of them. To go back, it's Ctrl T, by the way. To look through all of them with syntax highlighting and all. And I'm like, so that's where I use all of them. If they're unfolded, they won't get unfolded, which makes sense. And like, I see. Okay, cool. I don't actually want to move to any of them. I don't want to complete the search. I just wanted to see where I use it. I press escape and I don't get moved anywhere. Anywhere. Straight up. So this is fucking amazing, because I found it annoying how, let's say I really want to be in this place. I'm currently working on code and I don't want to make a local mark because I don't use harp qfetter, and because of that my local mark can easily get invalidated and I won't be able to easily go back to this place. Very specific situation that I've been way too commonly in, but now I use harp qfetter. I guess since I'm like talking so much about this plugin, I might as well send it. Here you go. Talked about it multiple times on stream, so if you want to, I can even give you a stream. I guess I don't have the link to the first one where I talked about it, but I have the one for search harps. Here you go. So yeah, I don't want to move from here. I want to be here, but I also want to go look at all the places where I use feed keys. There's probably some way to do it through LSP, but maybe I don't have an LSP. I just want to use a pattern. Maybe my LSP doesn't work in that way to be able to tell me all the usages of blah blah blah, right? Or first I would have to go to blah 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 and then go from there, which is also like I would have to use something like this, right? Have to use something like this and then go from here. Still, I need to go somewhere. I don't want to go anywhere. Now I don't have to. Right, so I would have to search, press enter, and then press N. And then I'm like, oh, let me press control, oh, fucking 18 times. Really, really annoying. So that, Control G and Control T. Really, really useful. But there's something almost more amazing, maybe specifically more amazing. Let's say I want to change over kill ring in a bunch of places, but not necessarily the whole file, only in a few places. So I just do kill ring, enter cgn, blah blah, and then I press dot to repeat that. Used to use this very commonly, but now use the substitute command more often. Well, the thing is, you don't have to type it in. You do K, and the current match is already matching what you're actually searching for. You don't need to type in the rest of the word, actually. You can just press Control R, Control W, which I have remapped. Blammo, and you completed the word at your match. You can continue doing this, actually. Oh, interesting. It just grabs the next word, which is not the behavior that I expected. But yeah, it grabs the next word. And then it grabs local, which is very strange. So yeah, you can press Control R, Control W to complete the word at the match. If you're in command mode, what Control R, Control W does in command mode is that it inserts the word at your cursor. So that's the different semantic. In command mode, just insert the word at cursor. In search mode, it completes the current match. Very cool. However, let's say I want to replace kill ring meta table, or maybe I just want to see all the places where that exists in my file. Use Control G and Control T, as I already explained. So as we just saw, I can't just press Control R, Control W again to match the space equals space, right? So now I have to type it in. I'm like, okay, and now I can do that. And now I have to type it in again, annoyingly. Like, it's fine, but it's not like perfect. What if I told you you don't have to do that? Actually, you can press Control L to insert the next character after the match into your pattern. So you just can press Control L, which is I guess you can't really just hold it down, which is interesting. At least I can't. Maybe it's like more responsive on your computer, but you can just spam Control L and that will continue on inserting the next character from the match. So let's run it back. Do K, complete word, and this is way fucking faster than actually typing this in my opinion. And I also have all of these mappings remapped to make them more convenient, because Control G, Control T is kind of to press. Control L is fine, but I'm more used to Control Y from insert mode that lets you insert a character from the top line. And so, because of that, I remapped it here as well. And Control R, Control W is just ridiculous to press. It's basically impossible, which is why I do Alt apostrophe, which is my remap to Control R, and then I do semicolon, because it's not a register, and that completes the word, either at cursor, if in command mode, or at like completing match in search mode. Alright, I'm gonna come back in a sec. I'm back. So yeah, quite a lot of cool things for search mode, don't you think so? There is a certain thing that I've been using leap for. Let's say I want to delete from the start of the name of this function to end. For one reason or another, maybe I want to change over all of this. So here I just used visual mode for this, which I would rather not. Is just kind of too much effort, so I don't like it. Therefore, what I do is CQ to use leap, and then ND, F, and here I am. I also don't like this very much. I'm not the #1 fan of leap. It's a good plugin, but what I don't like about it is that once I type in my search, then I need to register what the fuck F is and connect that in my brain to actually press F. That, for one reason or another, is not instant. Still takes some time for me to register that. Compared to doing C search, which you can do, by the way, if you didn't know, and then end. I can immediately see the color change, and I'm like, yep, it's catching the correct thing that I'm looking at, and I can just press enter, and that would do the thing that I wanted, except not. Except when you do something until search, it is exclusive. So it does the thing until your search, not including your search. Which is fair, it's good behavior. Maybe even good default behavior, I'm not honestly sure. But I want to be able to include the end as well, right? If you didn't know, let me show it to you in some sort of way. If you do change back on the last character of the word, you can see that N still stays. Because this motion, a backwards word motion, is exclusive. It doesn't include the character at cursor. You can press C, V, B, and now this motion becomes inclusive. So you can press V after an operator to toggle it inclusivity / exclusivity. You can toggle that. Similarly, I can do something like C4 down, and that changes over 4 entire lines. But what if I wanted to change from function to the dot, for example? So rather than line-wise, I want to do it character-wise. Well, I can do C capital V 4 down, and that doesn't work. Interesting. What if I do CV 4 down? Okay, so that's how you do it. So here also, you can press V to, in this case, switch from line-wise to character-wise. And this happens for a lot of operators and motions, where you can press V. So basically, the rule is, if the motion is already character-wise, if you press V, it toggles between inclusive and exclusive. If the motion is line-wise, when you press V, it turns into character-wise. If the motion, for example DE, it is character-wise, and you press V, so D, capital V, E, it turns into line-wise. So capital V is for toggling line-wiseability, and lowercase v is for toggling character-wiseability. Then you can do D control V down, and that motion is now blockwise, when usually it would be line-wise. So control V is for toggling blockwiseability. I'm explaining all of this to really talk about this. What if I do D, or rather from here, that was the example, we do DV search to make it inclusive, and what I think will happen now is when I search end, it will include end. However, it does not work this way. As you can see, it kept the ND. So very stupidly, in Vim's fashion, this is not the behavior that I actually want. It included the first character of my match also, when usually it would not include it at all. When in reality what I want is to include the whole fucking match. Obviously, at least in my mind, obviously that's what I want. But that's not how it works. Well, there's a trick that I use. D search end, so the same thing, we don't use any V, no V bullshit. But now we insert \ZS. And I've sung praises about \ZS and \ZE many times on my streams. I recommend reading the docs on them. That's gonna be like the best. But long story short, they mean, oh, start actually grabbing the match after this has already matched. And you can see from the highlighting that it matches just after end. But it doesn't actually match any character whatsoever. It matches 0 width after end. So now when I press enter, it still catches D, which is really annoying. So now we should do CVs. Okay, so CV, search, and \ZS. I know this is a lot, and at this point you might as well use a leap, but for some odd reason I prefer this. And now this has the correct behavior of changing and including my search. So this is very nice, and also have mappings. So Alt S inserts \ZS, and Alt D inserts \ZE. And boom, that's it. So now I don't need to worry about registering, I need to press F. Don't need to do that. And if maybe I want to change until this end, well, the thing is pretty similar. I just jump using Control G, blammo. So I like this a lot. I think it's super fucking neat. Okay, I am tired now. Oh fuck, for fuck's sake, I forgot to fucking give a notification. Ugh. Okay, thanks for watching.